Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About, and in this one we'll talk about SCP-021, or the Skin Worm. SCP-021 is a large and elaborate tattoo of a serpentine dragon in the Oriental style. Covering approximately 0.8 square meters of skin, it is able to swim across and around the human host body. SCP-021's fluid movement is a mystery and painless for the host. SCP-021 does need to feed. It feeds on other tattoos, erasing the ink entirely when it eats them. If no other tattoos are present, it will consume skin pigmentation. This can include melanin, in which case the subject appears to be suffering from vitiligo, a condition in which the skin loses its pigment cells. SCP-021 has not been observed to have intelligence, aside from feeding and movement, though finding intelligence in a two-dimensional life form has proven impossible thus far. SCP-021 can be transferred between people via physical contact, the easiest way to accomplish this being sexual intercourse, with a 93% rate of transmission. However, due to the pain involved with transfer, this option is less than ideal. Contact between two open wounds is generally preferable. Transfer is more complicated in deceased subjects. SCP-021 does not suffer from any illness or death and will continue to eat the pigments off the cadaver. Transmission between other species is unknown. However, previous testing indicates it is either extremely rare or impossible. SCP-021 must only be hosted by D-Class personnel. The D-Class with SCP-021 on them may avoid the monthly termination of D-Class personnel. When SCP-021 is on a person, it increases that person's confidence, strength, and reduces the effect of fatigue from their everyday life. How long a person can hold SCP-021 varies. The time lasts based on how long a person can put up with the pain SCP-021 causes. Most hosts commit suicide, which then means 021 needs to be transferred. SCP-021's origin is a complete mystery. The organism could very well be hundreds, if not thousands, of years old, and is one of the oldest SCPs to ever be contained within the Foundation. So what I'm getting from this is extreme fish-like vibes. I'm imagining this tattoo literally swimming. Because it can't walk, it's a dragon. I mean, technically it could walk, but it's an Oriental star dragon. I'm imagining like a Chinese dragon kind of thing. Like a Chinese depiction of a dragon tattooed on a person. Did it come to life when it was originally tattooed, or did it just kind of appear on a person? Or did it always exist? It it's painless when it moves, which is interesting because you would expect it to hurt, but it doesn't. I mean, it says it needs to feed. It feeds on other tattoos, erasing the ink entirely when it eats them, so, you know. What I'm imagining is like you tattoo like an apple on them, and it'll swim over and consume it. If there are no tattoos present, bye-bye skin pigmentation. Hell, to do that on a corpse. Which is kind of interesting. Can people die from loss of skin pigmentation? Like whatever vitiligo is, can someone die from that? I don't think so. I wouldn't expect them to be able to. What I don't know. I think that it would be painful, but I don't know if it is. Um, can be transferred between people. So maybe it should be, like, from time to time transferred. Sexual intercourse being the easiest way to transfer, but it's painful. So, no. So open wounds can it just, it can't be like shaking a hand, but if it's like an open wound, like blood pact, carve the hand, handshake, transfer. I bet that would hurt though. This is essentially getting tattooed, right? When it transfers. And transmission between other species is completely unknown. It's either extremely rare or completely impossible. Which means it prefers humans. Obviously, it's an SCP, but I'm just imagining this dragon tattoo swimming onto a bear or something like that. In order to transfer it again, you have to touch the bear, and that could end horribly because you have to open wound and or have sexual intercourse with the bear. But I don't think that's a good option for any party involved. Monthly termination of D-class personnel. That's something within the Foundation. Every D-class kind of every D-class at the end of the month gets terminated. D-class are typically death row inmates, so they were going to die anyway. It's kind of like postpone the sentence for humanity. But you can postpone it if you have SCP-021 on you. Granted, it'll probably drive you insane and make you commit suicide because pain, but there's always ups. It could be hundreds, if not thousands of years old. No one knows how old this tattoo is. If it's an Oriental style tattoo, I'd imagine pretty old. It's also one of the oldest SCPs to ever be contained. Not the oldest made, like posted on the wiki, oldest contained lore-wise, timeline-wise. One of the oldest. Which is interesting, because the skin worm, I just don't like the idea of the name. Skin worm. Like, ugh. That shit's swimming about you. It's not a pleasant thought. But it's contained on a person, so really, just that person can walk around and be fine. Containment procedures are pretty light with that one, then. But with that being said, I've said my piece for this one. So thank you all so much for listening. If you liked it, please consider subscribing, as it helps me out with motivation, as well as just being able to do this more often, because motivation-wise, and also it shows me that you like the content that I'm posting. But thank you all so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.